So, all right. Good afternoon from or to everybody all over Nigeria and across Africa that decided to join us on EBL 3.0. So my name is called Peter Sitefu, and yeah, you did not see me yesterday, so we are here today. And this is the panel session, one of the best and let's say blazing sessions we actually be looking, forward to since day one of the employability, business and leadership. And the big guns are actually here, and I'm really delighted to host them. Okay, so please, during the course of the discussion, we would have to, please ask questions and the like. So we really need this to be more engaging, even though we have different questions already to engage. But we also love to hear from people in the comment section. And please, as you are signing in, please do not forget to type in present so we could, take the roll call and make your certificate available. All right. So yeah, understand the fact that we're actually waiting for Elisha Mamman, but Elisha Mamman will join us by 3 p.m. So I just wanted to let you all know. So once again, you are welcome to the panel session for EBL 3.0, the first ever EBL panel session. Yeah. All right. So we have with me here, we have Amanda Putawa from Jobberman. I think she's South African. Yeah. Then we have Steve Harris. That name.
Yes, I am.
Then we have
I'm Pan-African, but I live in Nigeria.
Yeah, Pan-African. Yeah. Okay, yeah, it's true. Then we have Femi Tiamuyi, Accelerate LDH quarters, that's leadership quarters. I am really excited to host you. I'm excited to host every single one of you. So we will be engaging in some general questions to try to reduce the pressure and lighten up the mood. Yeah, we'll be coming out from the pandemic, and or we are still in the pandemic, or we are close, towards the end of the pandemic. And I would like us, kind of make some reflections on how we were able to scale through. Yes, I would like us to make some reflections on how we're able to scale through. So people present in the control room should pop up, some of the questions that we've actually prepared. I'll be expecting you guys to do that. But before that comes up, I would just like everyone on the panel, from Femi, Tiamuyi to Steve Harris to Amanda Putawa, we'll be starting with Femi Tiamuyi on how the lockdown was. We'll be starting with Femi Tiamuyi on how the lockdown was. So how were you able to, get into the chaos and all that during the period, and how were you able to scale through?
Well, for me during the lockdown, really the lockdown was it has been one of my most engaging and productive season. I tell you the truth. It was very engaging and productive for me. I made much sales then because I had to do quite a number of my trainings, and some persons were not able to attend my trainings before, maybe because of their work or other schedules. But during the pandemic, okay, people were around, and I did it quite a number of. It was a back to back for me. It was like I was practically working. And then my work, it increased to another level, and for me, I saw the need to double up on all the things that I'm doing. The lockdown for me actually was an advantage. In all fairness, in all sincerity, I'm not trying to make it sound good. It was an advantage for me, and it changed my finances too. Thank you. Let me just pause there.
Wow, yeah, yes, because it was an avenue to also make more money, becoming more focused on some of our goals. So I'll be moving over to Amanda. Jobberman has been engaging us since, I think, for the 4 or 5 months on the monthly training and certification so far. So would like to get from you how the lockdown was being from you. Say apart from even engaging on Jobberman.
Okay, I guess I'll do it in 2 parts. Personally, for me, it has been quite busy with work. Jobberman has been or has gone through quite an exciting season despite this difficult time. And I think I've also used it to also try and become more healthy, try and walk more, but also obviously observing social distancing and making sure I've been careful about that. So I do think there's been a lot of growth for me personally. And then in terms of Jobberman, for us, we actually launched our soft skills training during lockdown, and we're able to train over 40,000 young people. So that kept us busy and also doubled our job listings as well. So the advertisements that go on the platform. I think being a digital workplace definitely set us up for success during this time. So yeah, personally for me, been busy, but also at work. The only downer I will mention, Scott, is a few of my loved ones have lost individuals due to the virus. But I guess we trust for God's best in everything. So yeah, that's it from my end. Hi,
All
Scott, are you
right,
still there?
all right. Thank you very much. Okay, okay. I don't seem to kind of hear you anymore. So I don't know if issues on door that is breaking actually. Okay, yes. That's too early. Can we this question first?
At least I know what to expect next.
Thank you, Amanda. Thank you very much. I'm sorry to have cut you short. Yes. Steve saw the
No
question.
problem.
Okay. We'll be going to let's say Steve. I would like to understand how Steve Harris also, let's say, navigated through the lockdown also.
Well, first off, hi everyone. Super stoked to be here. I want to first off appreciate the entire team, Amanda as well, Femi, and my brother Elisha, who's yet to make it. Totally stoked to be here. For me, business as usual. You know what I mean? Of course, like Amanda said, quite a number of people lost a lot of loved ones to the virus, and may their souls rest in peace, of course. But I think when it comes to beyond the sad news, I think for me, really nothing really changed because a lot of my work had been positioned online and digitally. We had anticipated to some degree that we knew that a lot of organizations um, would need to reposition, and many businesses needed to reposition. So we were already to some degree way ahead of the curve. So not to say that we were anticipating something like this was going to happen, but we were already positioned in the event that something like this would happen. So for us, like Femi already mentioned, business just got busier because it was almost like you were already waiting for the traffic to come. You knew that the traffic was going to build, and you were already positioned somewhere just waiting for the crowd to come. And when the crowd came, it was now a matter of supply because there was a huge demand. So yeah, it was really good. Personally, of course, we got to spend more time with our families and our loved ones. Just and I think this season has just taught us to make the most of every moment, hug your loved ones a little bit tighter, and yeah, absolutely. Is he still there?
Scott, are you still with us?
Maybe we should just take over and have our own show.
I think so. Maybe if the question pops up again, we can actually go straight into it.
Sure, because I don't know. I don't know if I think they may be watching. There we go. My question is
There we
coming up.
go. There's the question.
All right. I don't know. Can the moderator or the control room, could you guys let us know if it's okay for us to just start talking? Or else we'll just have our own party right here without you guys.
We can do that.
Yes, you definitely can do that.
Okay. I don't know. So do you want me to take this question first?
Yes. From a student to being a corporate sellout, Steve Harris, what was the role of mentorship or self-leadership during the dark stages of evolving? Particularly, I know so well, I was at your session last year at Uniben MTN Campus Invasion. and I
Right.
listened to you and I was blown away. I mean, Steve, I was blown away. Now, I would like
Thank
you to
you.
tell us, we have so many persons listening to us right now, from being a student, I remember your book says a college dropout, to being a corporate seller. What was the role of mentorship or self-leadership during that dark phase evolving? Thank you.
Well, thank you for the very nice compliments. So, for those who perhaps don't know the story, just the very short end of the stick is I dropped out of school, so I don't have a college degree. And I didn't just drop out of the University of Benin, which was where I matriculated from. Eventually, I still went to another school, and I got myself kicked out again. So I dropped out of school twice. But if you're in school watching this, don't be a fool. Stay in school. All right. I'm going to say that again. Don't be a fool. Just stay in school. Right. As long as your parents are paying for your grades, you might as well give them what they asked for. You know what I mean? Once you've gotten the certificate, you can hand it over to them, and then you can do whatever the heck you want to do with your life. Um, but coming to my perspective, dropping out of school wasn't because I really wanted to. It was because, as many of you know, if you study in Nigeria, I'm not sure about Amanda. South Africa seems to have gotten all its ducks in a row, but in Nigeria, um, we kind of have a lot of lecturers who tend to victimize, and the BBC has done some shows about that. But I got into a lot of trouble with my lecturers. I was in the math department, industrial math department. Well, first off, I don't have a flair for numbers. I always say the only numbers I care about are the numbers that people pay me, and that's it. You know what I mean? But I was in Uniben in 1997, and I got kicked out in 2004. All right, so I spent 7 years in school for a 4-year course. It was just traumatic, for to say the least. But I think at the end of the day, mentoring was very important, because by the time I got kicked out of school, I was very depressed. I was very suicidal, because I was at the time, and the one that the kid my parents thought was most likely to succeed. Um, I've always thought myself to be an intelligent kind of kid, but you know, there's some ways that your school will deal with you that erodes your confidence. And for those of you who are watching, who are in Uniben, they talk about the Uniben arches, that as you come through the main gates, we have these arches and they begin to bend and they begin to bend. So Uniben is actually also called Unibend, right? And then Uniben bended me and me kicked out of school. But eventually, I got the privilege to be mentored by Fela Durotoye, who's an amazing leadership expert, motivational speaker, premier. Um, and, he took a chance on me. And at the time, I was enamored by him. His messages were very uplifting. And the very first time I heard him speak, it was just a matter of deep calling to deep. Um, and he gave me hope, because here I was, a 2-time college dropout who was already suicidal, whose younger ones were doing very well, whose friends had left him behind, and I had no hope. And then motivation, I see this man talking, and his motivation gave me hope. You know what I mean? And I was very privileged to have the opportunity to serve him for a period of time. And eventually I got the opportunity to work with him. So mentorship was very important. I see a lot of people, and perhaps those who are watching, and I'm sure Femi and Amanda can relate to this as well, where you get a lot of DMs or messages from young people who say, look, I'd like you to mentor me. But when you ask certain questions, like in what area do you need mentoring? They're like, I don't know, just mentor me. I want to be who you are. I'm like, that is not a compelling value proposition. You've got to look at it and say, what value can you bring to the table? Now, back in the day, and I really want to hear Amanda and Femi's stories. So, but I do remember that back in the day, being this 2-time college dropout, I had nothing to give Fela that was of value. I had no money, I had no school, no job, nothing. And I do remember the very first time I met him, and his message changed my life. I remember pulling off my wristwatch, which at the time was my only valuable possession. And I pulled it off and sowed it as a seed and said, sir, I wish I could give you something more valuable, but this is the only thing I have of value. And I pulled off my watch. It wasn't anything fancy. And I gave it to him. And, he took it. Obviously, he didn't need it, but he did something very interesting. He gave me his number. Now, this is the very interesting thing that I think a lot of young people should understand. There's a difference between having contact and access, right? So you may have my contact, but it doesn't give you access to me. And you can't access me by just randomly telling me about your problems. So when I got Fela's number, I said to myself, I wasn't going to call him. And for a whole year, despite my darkness, I didn't call him. But you know what I did? Every Monday, I would send him a prayer. I would send him an SMS, and I would say to him, Sir, this week, may God bless you. May he keep you. May he cause his face to shine upon you. May he give you peace in Jesus' name. Have a great day, Steve Harris. And I did that every Monday. And the days that I didn't have airtime, it was very interesting because I didn't think it was, once in a while, Fela would respond, thank you, God bless you. Other times he wouldn't. But I noticed that maybe if I didn't do it 2 weeks in a row, he would send me a message and say, where's my prayer? And then I knew that that little SMS was making a big deal. So mentorship goes a heck of a long way.
All right. It seems like the next question is for me. But before I go into that, Steve, I feel like you inspired me just by sharing that. And I think you just made mentorship so practical and so real. So thank you so, so much for that. And I'm sure you've inspired so many others out there as well. So thank you. So team, if I may, I'll go straight into the next question, which is what were the most preferred qualities that I believe got me into McKinsey & Company? And what exactly do I feel Africans should know when trying to enter bigger companies? Right, interesting one. So for me, to be honest with you, I think one would be just obviously finding out about the opportunity was just a hunger to learn and a passion to change my continent in some way. I stumbled upon the McKinsey opportunity by speaking to a friend who actually worked there and was doing some meaningful and tangible work with different clients across industries. At the time, I didn't know much about the company, and they had a leadership program where part of the work you do was focused on consulting, and the other part was in grooming leaders who would build Africa as a whole. So for me, one was the hunger to learn and to find out what this was about, but also wanting to have an impact on my world beyond myself. And that's literally how I stumbled onto it. The second thing that I think they looked for was logic. So, or should I call it critical thinking? One of the steps of getting into McKinsey is completing the problem-solving test. After the problem-solving test, you go through case interviews. It's a rigorous process, but one of the things that they tell you is, even if you don't know what the content is, what we want to understand is how you think through and logic the different questions and problems we put in front of you. You may not get to the right answer, but if you can walk me through how you got there, I'm able to then better give input on how to actually get to the right answer. And I think that was one of the biggest things they emphasized and one of the qualities they look for. And for me, just thinking about it in the context of the young people here is, I think a lot of the times we often cram our schoolwork, right? We don't even understand what we're learning, but maybe it's about understanding, what is this course actually about and what am I trying to get out of it? So that would be the second thing that they were looking for. And then I think the third one was self-drive, right? I had to reach out to friends of mine and ask, beyond my friend that I was speaking to, do you know anyone at McKinsey who would help to coach me and help me to prepare for these interviews? Do you know anyone I could speak to or have a phone call with and ask questions? And that self-drive and curiosity, I think, helped me. I actually spoke to 3 different people, ended up figuring out a way to approach my tests and case studies, and then by the grace of God, got into McKinsey. So those would be the 3 things that I would say I believe got me into McKinsey. Over and above, obviously, there were requirements such as your degree, marks, or interests, and obviously going for the interview. In terms of the second part of the question, what exactly do you feel Africans should know when trying to enter bigger companies? Honestly, the first thing I would say, particularly for young people, is the small things do count, right? Your attitude plays a big role. When people engage with you during interviews, they are trying to understand who you are as a person and whether this is someone they would like to work with in their team or in their organization. So having a positive attitude or an attitude that is interested in the organization, I would say is important. Secondly, I would say integrity, being honest, and telling the truth, and obviously reaching out for help when needed. I think you need to be able to speak up when you do need help and to let people that this know that I do need assistance at this point. And I think also research, right? You need to be the person who says, if you're not sure about something, I'm not sure about this, but I can go and research it and look it up and come back to you with an answer. People appreciate that. And it actually does contribute to the work that you're doing. And then finally, something that I would say, which may be contentious for some people, when you are still younger, right? A lot of people have the dream to become the CEO, the next CEO, and the next president. And I believe you can achieve those things. But there's always the work in the beginning, which may not be as sexy, right? The administrative aspect of things, the little tasks you have to do. And I would say if you can get those little tasks right, you'll be trusted with the bigger tasks, and not to take those tasks for granted. So that is what I would say. Thank you so much. All right, Femi, seems you're next up.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much. I'm tempted to say Uncle Steve because you've been a blessing to me in the
I am
exam.
not
I'm here
that
to
old.
learn.
I am not that old.
I'm here to learn and to speak. So I'm gleaning a lot. Hearing both of you speak. Amanda, thanks so much for that. I'm taking notes right now. I'm taking a lot of notes right now. All right. So in choosing a mentor, How do you watch out for tormentors? How do you watch out for tormentors? Actually, a tormentor does not correct you in love. Let me go straight to it. A mentor is someone who accommodates your weaknesses, because the essence of mentorship is not that you shouldn't make mistake, but to reduce the error margin. So for all of us, we all have a tailor-made, challenges, problems that we're going to face. So and that is a major challenge, because people come in front of their mentors and you're trying to codify things for your mentor. You're trying to hide. You're trying to you want to turn your mentor to an FBI to start asking you different, come plain, come open, come transparent. He can see you just as you are. In fact, he can see what you are not seeing about yourself, because he has a foresight. So vision is seeing things the way they ought to be as against the way they are. So, and that's where a mentor is. A mentor is someone who is visionary. So a mentor won't correct you in love, but a tormentor won't use your wrongs as an excuse to exploit you, to taunt your life, to make you feel miserable. So a tormentor makes the demands from you that are not comfortable with you. A mentor, you stretch people out of their comfort zone, not out of their gift zone. A tormentor stretches you out of your gift zone, but a mentor wouldn't do that. A mentor will only stretch you to become a better you. A mentor is not trying to bring another him in you. A mentor is making you be a better and bigger version of yourself, based on what it says about you, or the vision you have said is in front of you. So, but a tormentor does see a tormentor is driven by pride. Everything about what he or she does, is centered around him. So all the attention is on you. And then you discover that, of course, there is a place of service in mentorship. You serve your mentor. Look at what Mr. Steve told us, how the place of giving, the place of coming just as you are with a humble heart and going the extra mile. But when it doesn't give you any space. A tormentor want to have you all, and you begin to wonder: is this still mentorship or slavery? Am I still in a mentorship program or slavery? So a tormentor stretches you out of your comfort, out of your gift zone. A tormentor does not give you any space for you to even find yourself. He takes he exploits you to the degree with which you weren't even prepared for, and he takes everything is centered about him. Let me just pause there for in choosing a mentor, how to watch out. So when you begin to see all of these signs and trade in someone, or how they deal with people, or when they don't admit their fault, it's all about them. They're always right and all. A mentor makes mistake. So I tell people, you are not looking for an angel in a mentor. A mentor makes mistake. So you must be ready to receive the vessel, the human freight in that vessel, and perceive and receive that person like that. Because you hear your mentor make mistake now, you are dementoring him. You understand? That's the age we're in right now. Of course, a leader is expected to be someone of his a high standard, high ideas, moral value, moral uprightness, and all of that. But the thing, we are all humans. We make mistakes. So when you hear the mistakes of your mentor, in fact, it's from the mistakes you glean knowledge on how not to repeat same mistakes, because that's really the essence also of mentoring. You don't have to make the mistake your mentor makes, and that's why it's open to you, because the protege risks vulnerability, then the mentors also gives access. Now look at that. That trade-off is very important for a good mentoring relationship to thrive. So if you are not, you can't come vulnerable enough to. So if you have a mentor that is not ready to give you access, share access, and all of those things, even when you push and everything revolves around that person, those are signs of a mentor. Then who is he or she answerable to? We could hear clearly from Steve right now mentioning. I mean, I've heard this story right from my part one. So we invited you to OAE of part one when you came to speak to us. I mean, these stories, line for line, word for word, were there. And I was thinking, sir, I'll be honest with you. I was thinking Steve would come to a point where he would say, where he wouldn't acknowledge, this man. I was thinking, okay, maybe he's going to cite another man. But look at that. Look at that point of still acknowledging that role of mentorship, and calling the name as it is. I don't know what led me into this, but maybe I'm just opening my mind. Thank you so much for modeling, true leadership and and what mentorship, because I learned a lot from your story, your story with Fela Dutre, and I saw the fatherhood, the speed of excellence in Fela, like how the platform, how sometimes we've invited him and you represented him, spoke, and how you guys were just like brothers. So he doesn't. I mean, it's just a very warm and lively atmosphere. And so these are the things you see. A mentor is embracing. He brings you all. He's characterized by love. So it's not hatred. It's not you go and you are scared. You don't know the next move. You are scared because you don't know what the next backlash will be like. So let me just pause there for now. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Amanda. Thank you so much, Steve, Aris. Thank you so much, Femi Tiamuyi. I'm a co-host, and I know you might be kind of surprising me, Ido Damilola Deborah, and I'm assisting Scott Itepo. Thank you so much. I hope everyone has learned a lot from this first set of questions. And please be ready, because another set of questions will be popping up soon. There you go. Steve Harris, the world is becoming competitive by the hour due to saturation of industries. How would you suggest we scale higher than competitors? How do we scale higher than competitors?
That is a tough question. What I will say really is, there's almost no strategy that you have that a competitor can't duplicate. There's no, execution is a trade secret, but beyond that, I think that one of the things that will help you beat your competitors hands down is when you outcare your competitors. So I'm going to say that again. It's when you outcare your competitors. So, your competitors can outspend you, they can outbranch you, they can out-human resource you, they can out everything you. But one thing that will always stand for you is if you are able to outcare them, where you're constantly showing that irrespective of the size of the market, you are truly doing what you can to the best of your ability, also to promote your customers. But beyond just doing that, you've got to be able to communicate the value that you're bringing to your customers. So, I don't think you should really focus on your competitors. I think you should really focus on the best of who you are and how you can serve your customers better than everyone else. I always give the example. I say there are many football teams in the English Premier League. Manchester United is not trying to attract Arsenal fans. They're not. They're not trying to attract Arsenal fans. They're not trying to attract Chelsea fans. They're trying to attract Manchester United fans and serve them better than anyone else. So you've got to look at it and say the same way that many clubs or many people have different options of the football clubs they support. What happens is the reason a Manchester United fan will not cross the aisle to Manchester City is because they feel like they are being effectively served many times by the results of the players, but they're effectively served by their teams. So as a business, as an entrepreneur, your job is not to look at the Manchester Cities, don't look at the Arsenals, don't look at none of those guys, and focus on how can you outcare your competitors and offer them a service that perhaps they can't find somewhere else. So that's my 2 cents on that.
All right, I see the next question is up. Thank you so much, Steve. Okay, I assume I should go into the next question. So I think as everyone has read from my profile, I'm currently leading together with my great team a project on training 5 million youth and placing 3 million of them into employment by 2025. And the question is, with such workload as this, how can one balance emotion? So I'll answer this in 2 parts. The first part is just providing context on what has been mentioned in the question about the work that I'm doing, and then balancing that, balancing emotions. So the program that we're doing is called Young Nigeria Works, and there are 5 components of it. One is soft skills training. I think I mentioned earlier on that we've trained up to 40,000 young people on soft skills. The second is placing these young people into jobs. So the key work that Jobberman does is we're a digital marketplace that connects employers and job seekers. And our goal is to use our platform across our 3 target industries, agriculture, digital, and creatives, for this project, although we work across others, and place them into employment. And then hosting employability events to engage the youth like you. I think we've reached about 800,000 young people through our Facebook Live events in just the past quarter. And then we also are focused on working with various stakeholders to do a skills gap analysis. For us, it's important to understand the skills that employers require and the skills that job seekers require, and finding the gap between the two. So now that I've provided context on that, it is a significant workload. And I think for me, our team is seeing the soft skills training that we're providing to people coming into play in the work that we're doing. So in managing my emotions, one is a strong team that I can rely on and work with. One of the key things, right, going into any workplace is teamwork, and being able to share that load with your team, delegating where necessary, and also being able to clearly outline what work streams all the different members of the team are working on. I think the second thing, which has become pretty clear during this COVID-19 pandemic, is adaptability, right? There's so many moving pieces to such a big project and the world in general. And one needs to be able to be flexible and adaptable and change as those situations keep coming up. And unsurprisingly, that's one of the courses that we do teach through our soft skills training as well. Thirdly, I think it's also being able to take a step back, take a break, and being able to just engage with your family and your loved ones, right? There's a time to work and there's a time to also take a break, and to be able to deal with whatever emotions have come from work. So that's definitely something that has been important for me, and something that I've leveraged. And then something else is just having support from your leadership team, right? In leading this project, you're working with more senior individuals. So being able to reach to them, share with them your issues, and being able to chart the way forward together with them. And then lastly, I think probably merged in with all of the categories I've mentioned is just having trusted individuals that you can share those emotions with. With your team, you more often than not, are going through similar emotions. And so it's people who can understand and empathize with you, but also sharing with your support system as well. So that is how I would say I've been able to navigate. Thank you.
Okay, Femi, I think you're up.
All right. Okay. Thank you. Looking at leadership. Okay. Yeah. I thought you wanted.
Yes.
Should I?
Okay, let me just ask the question. Looking at leadership across regions, organizations, and communities, do you think there are special leadership methods to different areas? That's for you,
Y-
Mr. Femi.
yes, I actually think there are different leadership styles. I think the question I want to bring the focus of this question to like leadership style, because the way you lead people, let's say in a church, and we have different styles of leadership: bureaucratic leadership, charismatic leadership, transformational leadership, people-oriented leadership, tax-oriented leadership, and servant leadership, transactional leadership in the business place, and all that. They tell HR professionals that the same way you can hire people is also the same way you can fire them. But if you're serving in church now and people are not doing the job well, you want to still use the mind of Christ. You get what I'm saying? You want to, because it's a different ball game. Of course, there are places where you hire them, they are volunteers on your team, and you are paying them. You have the right to ask for a better service, to demand for a better service. But still, it's not like you won't just fire in the office. In fact, even HR officials will not just fire like that. It might they have their checklist and all that. And there is this thing that has been used over the years, over time, to check on the degree or what leadership styles to use. They call it SWOP. It's an acronym called SWOP. Like that's S for skill level, W for work, then O for organizational culture, then P for personality. Then the P is like the period of the work, to be delivered. So you begin to see that when you come into different culture or different environment, or the context actually determines the kind of leadership attribute to read, or the kind of quote of leadership to wear. One of the questions I asked in my leadership training is, I asked people, I said, do you think, uh, it's quite funny, do you think democracy is actually the apt leadership style for Nigeria presently as it is? Do you think democracy is the way forward? For I can see Steve already shaking his head. You begin to look at it and say, do you really think that what we need right now is democracy? Are we really doing democracy the way it ought to be? So you discover that, and some people will come and say, Nigeria just need an autocratic leader and all that. But really, it might not be. But you see that the work might be faster when we have a visionary leader on board, when we have a transformational leader on board, when we have, in quote, also a no-nonsense leader on board, a leader, so that checks and balances can be incorporated in all of the systems we have. Because you see that all of these loopholes are what causes all the corruption cases we have in the country and all that. So when we begin to have all this, so the context matters, and the method comes when you know the people you are dealing with, the time frame, the scope. There are certain persons you want to use this particular style of leadership for. In fact, even in servant leadership, there are times when you need to come like audacious as a leader. In quotes, maybe a little spice of being autocratic. Because if you have a team, you're working with a team, and it is becoming difficult to take decisions. And every now and then you keep going around the circle over and over. And in your own mind, you're trying to make it a participatory leadership, have everybody on board, take everybody to where they ought to go and all that. And a time comes, we are supposed to make a very important decision, and no one is coming to, shoulder the responsibility. A leader just has to come up and say, okay, this is what we are doing. This is what we are doing. You define the task. This is what we are doing. Apart from you setting the vision, from the beginning of the journey. So I believe that there are special leadership methods. In fact, not in quotes special, but there are the leadership method, to use in different areas actually come when you can define the work scope, the level, what the work needs, the skill level of the work. The people involved in that work also matters. The culture of the organization also matters. It goes a long way to determining the kind of style you now will to effect leadership changes, and your whole action. So let me just pause it. Thank you.
Oh, all
Thank you
right,
so
thank
much,
you.
everyone. Thank you so much. I was so glad. I
Thank
think
you.
this is getting more and more interesting. I mean, it is getting more educative, it is getting more interesting, and I can feel the heat already. Okay, so the question is another question will be popping up again. We're going to another phase entirely of this question and panelist session. Can you please pop up the question? There you go. Steve Harris, how do you balance productivity and availability on social media? I think a lot of persons are interested in this aspect.
Can you explain the question? I'm not sure I fully understand the context.
Okay, how do you balance productivity in what you do as a mentor, what you do personally, and how you're productive in what you do? How do you balance it with how available you are to your mentees and other people that seek your attention on social media? Do you get the question now?
I'm good. I'm good. Well, I mean, the truth be told, for me, social media is a tool. And I think, a lot of us on this panel recognize it's a tool. It's not our life. We don't live here. You know what I mean? We have real lives and we're doing real things. So social media is a tool. Social media is a tool to amplify what we do, and then share what we do with those who we can serve. So for me, I mean, whenever I post something on social media, I post it and I forget about it. So I'm not scanning to see did they like, did they comment, did they, what are they thinking? I don't live here, man. You know what I'm saying? We got things to do, right? So for me, social, I'm sure I speak for all of us in the panel. It's just a tool. It's also a way to be able to reach out to people. So I mean, if you notice, I am pretty engaged on my socials. So I generally try to respond to comments as much as I can. While I mean, it's pretty hard to keep up. At least once in a while, I will say something and thank someone for posting or commenting or responding to something. But then again, you also need to remember, like I said at the beginning, there's a difference between having contact and having access. So you slide into my DM and you say, "What's up?" I'm gonna block you. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm like, nah, you don't walk into somebody's house and say, "What's up?" You don't know me. I don't know you. You know what I mean? You don't come and ask me for money. You never do that. I mean, Fela has been my mentor for going on 16 years since I was 25. I'm 41 now. And in
Wow.
16 years, I have never asked him for money as close as we are. I have never asked him for anything. I've never asked him, oh, please, could you post my picture on Instagram? Never. Oh, could you help me sell my this thing? Could you do me a shout out? Never. Why? Because I recognize that the role of a mentor is for guidance. The role of a mentor is to shorten my learning curve with his experience, right? So I recognize that I know that you guys are a lot younger, and of course, all of us on this panel are really cool. So we don't have any airs. There's no drama, But you've also got to remember that we will never forget the first impressions that we have. We never forget the first impressions, and mentors subconsciously do this thing where we're sorting you in two categories. We're either putting you in the front of the pile or at the back of the pile. So the moment you interact with us, I'm like, this is a back of the pile kind of person. All right, oh yeah, to the back, go to the back, right? Or this is someone that I need to perhaps, put myself in a position where I'm like, this person's got a spark. It's even in my best interest to make sure this person succeeds. I mean, for every whiz kid, there is a Banky W who took a chance on him. You know what I mean? So, but I think too many young people perhaps mistake social media. And social media is relatively anonymous, especially if you're on Twitter. You can abuse anybody you like and just abuse them and say they're mad, right? But for example, and it's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing that we've got, Amanda here, right from Jobberman, and she will tell you that organizations will track your social media behavior. You know what I mean? There are some organizations that will, the fact that you are tweeting Big Brother Africa is a no-no already. You know what I mean? It's a no-no because they're like, no, the people we want should not be consorting at this level. You know, we can track your history. So your social media history can be found. You know that your entire Twitter history or Instagram history can be downloaded. You know what I mean? So you've got to be careful with what you put out there. So I know you're young. I know you're in the prime of life. I know you're excited to be young and alive. But listen, you know what I mean? You got to think about it in terms of posterity. You know, some of those videos that y'all are twerking, it's fun. You can twerk when you're 22. But when you go for a job interview and they bring out your history, and you'd be like, okay, so can you explain how this twerking action can give us competitive leverage? You're like, I'm not sure I know the question. You know what I mean? So my point really is, you know, come on, guys, um, you've got to put your best foot forward at every point in time. Doesn't mean you shouldn't have a little bit of fun. Please, by all means, have fun. But you've got to remember that you will not be 22 always. You will not be 23 always. You're going to get to that point where responsibility comes in, and you go to Jobber Man, and they pass your resume around. You know what I mean? And all of a sudden, you start wondering why you can't get a job. But they didn't know that you were Team Lakon or Team Ozo or Team, I don't know what the hell the people's names are. And they've tracked all your conversation, and they've seen, no, this is who she is or who he is when he's unfiltered. This is not the kind of person we want in your organization.
Mm.
So yeah, that's my 2 cents.
Thank you so much, Steve Harris. I've learned a lot about that. You really want to.
And just like that, the network twerked her off.
Okay, sorry about that. Sorry about that. Okay, at your youth age, you want to twerk, you can go ahead, but then remember posterity. Okay, so this question is going to Amanda. Amanda, for effective project management, how do you cope with a partner that slows you down? You know, for project management, you need to have a kind of teamwork and the rest, and someone is just pulling you back when you ought to be moving forward. So how do you cope?
All right, thank you so much for the question. So I think in terms of effective project management and coping with a partner that slows you down, I think one is just having the relevant project management structures in place. So one would be just being clear on what are the work streams that everybody is working on. So what is each individual working on, and what are the deadlines for each of those specific work streams? The work streams is like a part of the project that has been carved out and given to a specific member of the team to be responsible for executing. So one, I think, would be finding out what is the problem, right? You typically would have check-ins with your team members and find out how things are going, where you are with that specific task that you're doing. And as you are having those conversations is when you pick up if there's an issue or if there's something slowing the person down. So the first thing for me would be understanding what may be the problem. Sometimes the problem is external. So the person is waiting on another organization to respond to them or provide the information that they require to be able to do their task. Or sometimes it's internal. It may be a personal issue that the person has, or the person may have other conflicting tasks that are going on, and they may need some guidance, right, on what to prioritize and what to deprioritize. So for me, it would be one, having constant check-ins with that person. Two, understanding what is the issue that has led to them obviously slowing down the process. Is it external? Is it internal? So that would be the root cause analysis. And then thirdly, trying to come up with a solution, right, to address that issue. So maybe it is, as I mentioned, they need to focus on one thing instead of three, or they need someone more senior to intervene and assist them to get the information that they need from the external party. And then I think the final thing would be prioritizing. So being clear on what they need to focus on, and then coming up with a plan on when they'll update you on and what small tasks they'll be doing to get to executing the bigger task. So that is how I would cope with a partner that slows me down in those 4 steps. I hope that answers the question.
Yes. Thank you so much. I hope those that asked the question, because these questions we are asking was actually an excerpt from the registration. So I hope that has answered the question. So this question is a leadership question, and it's going to Tiamuyi. How can young campus leaders balance academics with leadership? How can young
Okay.
campus leaders balance academics with leadership?
Okay, number one, purpose. You wouldn't be a leader on campus in any organization or fellowship or department or faculty if you didn't gain admission into the university or the polytechnic, the tertiary institution in the first place. So the first thing is what brought you in here, and this question is very relevant because you see a lot of us when we get in there, the activities and everything tend to shift our focus. Since in all sincerity, and we always try to find a balance. How can I balance it? And in fact, you get a point where you now begin to see that you are giving more attention to this leadership, these activities, and all of that, even than your academics. Really, um, what all that happened on campus is a dress rehearsal of where we are going. So people can see you on campus and know that this man, this woman, this young girl, this young guy, tomorrow this is what he's gonna do. I mean, right on campus, I've been on the subject matter of leadership, talking about leadership, and you see me demonstrating in my heart. I can take instructions and I can lead. So one of my mentors have come to a point where they selected a team and they asked, okay, everyone there choose people for your team, and they just selected five different teams and they just told we call leaders, choose someone, just choose four persons in your team, and I have all the team leaders chose me in their team, every of the team leader. So because there's a balance of you leading people and also you being able to be led. People can lead you. So now your ability of being led, the capacity for you to be led is also knowing why you're there on campus. As much as you can, good grades, I'm telling you, are excellent. Don't toy with it. You can balance it, face your academics squarely, read when you need to read, and give the best into all of. Now, there's something I did on campus while on campus. It wasn't balanced for me on campus. I'll be frank with you and honest. It wasn't balanced for me. And it was so obvious. It was balanced in my 100 level. It was balanced in part of my 200 level. My lecturer frustration frustrated us. Engineering course, I study elect, Bafemalowo University. Right now, my career is on supply chain management, not even engineering. I learn on campus. Right now, passion or purpose is leadership trainer, instructor, and all of that. You can see the three dynamics of me. So, what I did then on campus was that from the morning till 5 p.m. That was me. I didn't say use my method. From morning to 5 a.m., I dedicated it for my academics, except when education exams and tests are coming in. So I make sure what I'm doing between 6 a.m. and 5 p.m. Was academics. From 5 p.m. is ministry. We call it ministry in times, in quote, leadership. That was a platform where
I
we
should have learned.
invited.
I should have learned that in school. If I wouldn't have dropped out, man.
That was a platform we invited Mr. Steve from. I forget because they were my leaders then in the fellowship. So but in my 200 level, that organization did not exist at 200 level. So it was a platform of just breeding leaders. It was the arm of my fellowship to train leaders. So for me, then I became a leader right from 100 level, second semester. So I've been leading people, following instructions, leading, and all that. So all through my life, before I became, the pinnacle of my leadership on campus in 400 level, I even still had a year more to go, 5-year course. So if you can just do that, but I would like that you give it 60-40, 60-40. You decide what the system will be. You decide what the system will be. Either your the purpose, the academics, or the things you are passionate about. Because I will not tell you to douse your passion while on campus. No. And this is what we tell people that are extremely passionate. And Paul says that I perceive that they have zeal, but not according to knowledge. And you see, that's what you see about a lot of young persons. And that's why you could say you go on Twitter and you want to drag people. You are dragging your father's mate. I don't understand. You are dragging people that have laid structure on ground, people that have built institution, people that are mentoring people that are paying people school fees. You drag them and all that. So it's not about having the zeal. These are all zeal without being guided or directed by knowledge. So have that zeal, but then guide it with knowledge. How do you guide it with knowledge? So don't just douse your passion or your purpose because okay, this is your academics. Some of you, your academics actually is in line with your area of purpose. Some it is separated. So give some reason, give some measure of attention also to your purpose, because at the end of the day, that is what defines greatness for you. At the end of the day, that is what gives you fulfillment. Some persons are studying because just to go back home and give their father the grade and say, Daddy, this is what you asked me to do. Bang, bang, bang. And they now go and start another degree, which is what they want to study. But I don't expect that the next generation of father will be like that. I tell people that I expect that at a tender age, so I start seeing my kids growing up and knowing what their passion is. I'll begin to align them, begin to align their passion to what their course of study would be. That's the hallmark of fatherhood, the hallmark of parenthood, that we could see and tell that okay, this child is the way I'm seeing him. He likes to do things like this. He's very good at this. Begin to guide that passion deliberately. You are buying toys for him in that direction, buying gifts for him in that direction. You are setting him up for that greatness. So when he comes there, they'll say, what's your skill experience? What's your year of experience? I mean, since childhood. Because he has a father or a mother who have paid attention to that. But you see, a lot of us, some of our fathers don't even know us. So we are studying a course that is not even in line with what our interest or satisfaction or fulfillment is. So if you are in that box where what you are studying right now is even different from what you are game for, what you are built or wired or designed for, like Mr. Steve would say, the talent, the business of your talent. If you have gotten that and see that, put some attention to it. Give it some preparation, and it starts right then on campus. So if you can use that time frame 60-40 for whatever your percentage you didn't fit, come on. But please leave university with quite some good grades. It's worth it. It's worth the stress. The stress. Thank you. Am I the only one? I can hear you.
I think you're on mute.
Yes, I just unmuted myself. Thank you very much. I kind of missed some of the discussion so far, and yeah, it's been good. Wow, Elisha Mamman is here, and I used to call Elisha Mamman the king of the north. Yeah. So I would yeah, before we go through with Elisha Mamman, I wanted to reflect with what Femi Tiamuyi just said, and looking at the business of your talent and the likes. Yes, I'm a perfect explanation of what you just talked about. Studying what is parallel to what you're doing, and sometimes when some persons see me, they be like, okay, you're studying maybe psychology, you're studying maybe mass communication, or you're studying, and I'm like, no, I'm studying agriculture, and they're like, what? So most of the time it's always like that, and I over time, through this self-leadership and all the like. And you were talking about engaging yourself from the 100 level. There's always this issue about discovering, everybody's born a leader and all those kind of stuff. And that's where most of the mistakes used to come from. Because since everybody believes that they are leaders on their own, then everybody feels that there's a perception to which they should live. So how do you think we should, initiate these leadership styles, like from our personal point of view? How do you think we can enter the leadership space? Because there are definitely some persons in 100 level, that are not as experienced as, some person in 500 and all that, and even in leadership space. So tell me, how do you think we can enter into the leadership space gradually?
Okay, process, service, process. You need to be a person of process, be able to, like Amanda said, you start. That is always a beginning point. So one of the things to do between now, the difference between an eagle and an eaglet is process. The difference in leadership is moving people from point A to point B. Between that point A and B, you will see a lot of things to learn. So you learn even from the internal conversations you have. You learn from settings of things. When you organize programs, go there. You are just at the backstage watching. I mean, as I'm saying now, I didn't even know a platform like this would come when I'll just be on with Steve. I mean, I was just there, like, but I knew the atmosphere that day. I knew it was in one of our all there. We're just blessed. We're just watching. We're just watching. In that same process, people are there observing you that you are following the tenet of leadership. You are following because a leader can identify other leaders. Right from my part one, I will tell you this. The pastor, we run a fellowship, like I said, a fellowship on campus. In his 500, 400 level, then he was the one heading my fellowship. And he told my leader of my team that he said, mark this guy, is going to be some days the pastor of Caris Fellowship International. I mean, right from part one, even me, I didn't see myself as that then. I was just serving, following the lead, and a time will come when the platform will open for you. But the first thing to jump at is not platforms, is to find the place to serve, to find a platform where you can learn process, learn organization, learn things that are not even communicated, things that are unspoken. I like to get to programs at the beginning, and I like to be the last person to leave. Why? I'm trying to learn, how do the guest speaker come in? How did they all come in? When they were done, how did they exchange pleasantries? How did they greet themselves? How were they ushered out? And it helped me and my organizational skills. So to wrap this up, process, keep learning. A time will come, all of the things you have been learning indirectly will just pop up, and you know that, okay, this is it.
Well, thank you very much for that. So definitely there's a level of capacity building that ushers us into these processes. Thank you so much. So we have Elisha Mamman here. Good afternoon to you, sir. How have you been?
Thank you. Sir? All right, I'm glad. Thank you. Good to be here.
Yeah, you are indeed welcome. You are indeed welcome.
Can I put my hand down?
My boss. My boss. Amanda, it's good to see you. My mentor, Steve Harris, and Mr. Femi, good to see every one of you. Thank you. Sorry I came in late because I was having
good to see you too, Elisha. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. All right.
So, Scott, I'm listening.
Thank you.
All right, no problem. So thank you very much for joining us, sir. Yeah, when we started, we just talked about, we asked each of the panelists on how they've been able to, scale through, the pandemic. And though we've been seeing, some like the, let's say, backdrop behind you, the winning mindset, comes up and the likes, and, So how has it been with you, during the lockdown?
Oh, it's been amazing for us because we had to adopt and adapt to whatever was happening at that time. Particularly, we were not used to having online events. I was practically not somebody who likes to do things online. I just make my posts, I just post stuff, but to hold an event online was not my thing. I was very weak at that. So I don't have the skill my big brother, Steve Harris, has to hold serious events like that. So what we did was we know now that there's a slogan that they says, if you don't adopt, you will die. So either you are adjusting or adopting, or you are dying. One is eventually going to happen to you, because change will always happen to you, or for you, or by you. When it happens by you, you initiated it. When it's happening for you, you were prepared for it. When it's happening to you, it's taking you by surprise. And for us, it wasn't really a surprise, because at our second year, I was already building a community. And as at that time, the community was already 4,000 people strong. By the time COVID came, we were about 6,000 people strong. And I had always streamed my meetings in my community. And so we only moved from offline, we went back online. Though it's a new terrain, but we survived. Something I want to chip in here is the fact that I was lucky, let me use the word lucky, or I have the ability to see talent. I had most of my team members are people who are skilled with IT. So it wasn't about me. If I was alone at that time, I can guarantee you I would have just gone back to my normal business of selling fertilizer. I wouldn't have survived in this public speaking space. I would have just gone back to Steve Harris' business of your talent and learn how to sell my fertilizer, which was how I came into the leadership space. But because of the people around me, take note, the people around me were able to help me navigate back online. And that's how Winning Mindset was able to survive the pandemic. And at that same period, I was able to launch out and roll out some paid classes because of that transition. I am beginning to do things I didn't know how to do before. Now I have WhatsApp classes that is paid. Now I have online classes that is paid. And so for me, COVID was good.
Indeed, COVID was actually good for each and every one of us because we've heard stories from most of the panelists here, and they were able to put quality time to good use. All right, so we just wanted Elisha Mamman to take off the pressures that he was coming with to the live session, and I believe you are good to go. So we'll be going to Steve Harris right now. And in mastering the business of your talent, how can young individuals make transition from passion to profit? Because indeed, this has been an issue, especially during the lockdown. People were trying to to make money and fund the data and all those kind of expenses. So in mastering the business of your talent, how can young individuals make transition from passion to profit?
Okay, cool. So before I answer this question, there was another question that preceded this, and was talking about how, should we go into entrepreneurship or something like that. And I need to qualify this that, I know, yes. Can you put that question back up? Yes. The fast-paced world, there's so much talk about entrepreneurship, damning 9-to-5 jobs and being your own CEO. How does this stand out with a plethora of lookalikes? I needed to address this. No one is saying, first off, that, listen, 9-to-5 jobs are incredibly valuable. So don't even get it twisted. Being an entrepreneur is hard. Do not let no one fool you. If you are not faithful with a 9-to-5, how on earth will you manage a 24/7? One of the things that people don't recognize, let me say that again, if you're not faithful with a 9-to-5, there is no way on God's green earth you can manage a 24/7. Because if you're working with an organization in a 9-to-5, they are paying you for your mistakes. You make a mistake, you still get paid. You don't worry about the overheads. Right now you're working in an organization. Let me give it to you. So you may be working. So for example, Amanda hires thousands and thousands of people. She sees probably millions of resumes every year. But you think about it and you say, many of these kids who get into these jobs don't even have the foggiest idea how much the organization spends on data or internet or fuel. I mean, just yesterday I was running a retreat for an organization, and we were speaking with the staff, and I asked them a simple question. I said to them, how many of you know how much your organization made last year, in the last financial year, profit before tax? Absolutely nobody knew. Then I asked the question, how much is your salary? Everybody knew. So my point is, a lot of people don't care about 9-to-5 jobs because it absolves them of responsibility. A lot of young people, and now this is segueing into my second question, a lot of young people who want to start their businesses are locked into the idea that they want to be the CEO of Me, Myself, and I Incorporated, going nowhere fast to do absolutely nothing. You know what I mean? Or we can just simply say you have a business card. Everybody on this panel will tell you that, and even Amanda is a CEO. Whether or not Amanda is a CEO, she works in a corporate structure. She is a CEO. She understands numbers. She understands data. She understands human resource. She understands productivity, capacity, the whole 9 yards. Now, listen, while I know that there is a dearth or a gap of corporate jobs, and this is the truth, I think one of the things, and I said this the last time I came to Uniben, and I think I spoke, I said one of the things that will stop many young people from getting jobs is, number one, your education, and number two, it's your pride. So let me give you an example. So you're in Uniben right now, you've spent Lord knows what, You expect to go, you expect to send a resume to Jobberman, and then you expect that jobs will literally be jobbing you up and down, just dropping on you like manna from heaven. You expect this, fairy tale of how your job is going to go. And it doesn't work that way. But even though
No.
we have amazing people like Amanda, who is showing you and they're training you guys and positioning you guys. While, see, there's the front door, and everybody is crowded at the front door to get a job. But there's the back door, and we know the people who do back door runs is who you know. But beyond front door and back door, there's the window. And let me explain how to get into the window. Very simple. And a lot of you who are watching me will not do this thing that I'm about to tell you, right? Go to the nearest organization. Forget about you want to work in Shell, leave those ones. Go to the nearest bank. And you say, I don't want to work in a bank. Is a lie. They just say, you don't know what you're talking about. Go to the nearest bank. Dress up, wear a if you're a guy, wear a tie. If you don't have a suit, wear a tie. Be very, let your shirt be ironed, look very comported. Get there by 6 a.m. Not 7, not 8, don't be late. Get there by 6 a.m. Stand by the security gate. And as the banking staff are making their way in, because those are the guys that come early, as the banking staff are making their way in, say, let me use GTB. Good morning, welcome to Guarantee Trust Bank, have a nice day. Good morning, nice tie, welcome to GTB, have a nice day. Oh, good morning, oh, your hair is so pretty. Welcome to Guarantee Trust Bank, have a nice day. Do that for everybody that walks in. Now, don't leave there, stay there till they close. And they don't close at 4. That's when they close banking hours. They generally close by 6:30, 7. That's when they exit the building. As they're leaving, those who are walking out of the gate, you say, have a nice day, see you tomorrow. Have a nice day, see you tomorrow. Have a nice day, I'll see you tomorrow. And the next day you do that, and the next day you do that. Now, let me help you understand. There is no way on God's green earth, if you are that tenacious, and you do that for 3 days in a row, that one person in that bank will not say to you, Shekosi, you know how they say it in Yoruba, I hope there's nothing wrong, you know what I'm saying? Are you okay? I mean, young man, you're here every day. What's young lady, why are you here? And that's not the time to now say, please, my father is sick, I don't have a job. No, that's the time for your elevator pitch. And I'm sure Amanda has talked about that. That's your elevator pitch. And then you say to them, I'm just looking for an opportunity. As you can see, for the last 3 days, I have been here by 6 a.m. and I have left here by 7:30 p.m., which means that, number 1, I'm punctual. Number 2, I don't need to be micromanaged. Number 3, I have self-motivation skills, right? Number 2, as you can see that I've been here, you can ask the security guards about my personality. All I'm looking for is an opportunity. And I promise you, if you give me an opportunity, even if it's to sweep the floor, I promise I'll be the best floor sweeper you have ever had. If you're looking for someone to give you tea in the morning, I promise you I'll be the best tea boy or tea girl you have ever had. But all I'm looking for is an opportunity. Now, let me help you understand. There is no way that they will not find something for you. You may not be in the right position, but you must make sure you are in the right location. Can I say that again? You may not be in the wrong position, but you've got to make sure you are in the right location. When I started working with Fela Duroto, I was working another job previously that I left to go and serve him. I was working the job that they were paying me to go and volunteer for him. And I volunteered every day for 5 months. For those of you who perhaps are familiar with Lagos, my parents have a house in Yanopaja, that is the suburbs. Fela's office was in VGC. I was going every day from Yanopaja to VGC for free. For free. I'll say it again, for free. I left the job that they were paying me to go and serve. And I didn't have a job role. I didn't have a college degree. In my previous job, I was an office assistant. I came into Fela's organization as a volunteer, also office assistant. But I said in this office, nobody will clean tables better than me. Nobody, and I didn't think it was beneath me to clean tables because I said, I am in the right environment. That give it time. Shall one day they will recognize the skill and the capacity, because you need to understand, guys, your job, or like Femi said, whatever you do in school, it is an audition. The problem many of you have is you don't know how to communicate the value you offer. So let me give you an example. You can be watching me right now and you say, well, I don't have a job, so I'll put my resume out there. Listen, Amanda is here. Amanda is the secret key. You know what I mean? So you're watching. Let me tell you. Amanda, let me tell you how you work this for Amanda to get. When Amanda sees your resume, she's like, wait, hold on, put this one in the front, remove those ones to the back. This is what you need to do. So you've worked, you're in a fellowship, or you're in JCI, or whatever it is that you do, right? And you're a head or a leader, or maybe you're not even a leader, right? Let me give you an example. When I was in Uniben, I was in a fellowship. It was called Love Family. Shout out to Love Family if anyone there is watching, right? And I was the head of our ushers. So it was called Impressions. So I was the head of Impressions. And in order to be able to, if you're an usher, for example, whether or not you're the head or whatever, you need to recognize that you are in the job of human resources and logistics management.
Yes, sir.
That is the language that Amanda
Yes, sir.
speaks.
Mm-hmm.
That is the language that Amanda speaks. So when
God.
you say I was in a fellowship, don't let us start thinking of what you were doing. Say, so in my fellowship, I was the head of First Impressions, and my role required me to manage human resources. I had a team of 12. Whether you were the leader or the follower, I was in a team of 12. I was able to make sure that the ambiance and the environment was created before. So I understand things like impressions management, which is amazing for customer service because I understand how to make a great first impression. See,
Yeah.
packaging. You don't know how to speak
Yes, sir.
English. I'm sorry, no disrespect. And that's the problem many of us have. We're busy speaking in abbreviation. You're busy writing instead of saying, but I want to see you, you write B-U-H, but I wanna see you.
Yeah.
And that's English. You know what I'm saying? When Amanda sees that, it's to the left, like Beyonce. You know what I'm saying? So is a lot of us are missing. I don't even want to touch the business part of it. Let's just stay here and build a tent. The problem is many of us, unfortunately, like the example I gave concerning going to get working that job, is you can't. You will not do that. A lot of you will watch this video, you'll hear what I say, you will get into the job market and you'll see how difficult it is, but you'll keep saying, oh, Nigeria is frustrating you. There are people in the front door is blocked. People in the back door, they know somebody. You don't know somebody. You can't. There are people who are in the job market that have been there for the last 10 years, and every year they keep falsifying their age to make sure that they can, because it's younger, right? So you can't go through the front door. You don't know anybody in the back door. My friend, can you please use the window? But the reason you will not do that is because your pride and your education. You say, me, I went to Uniben, class of 2000 and Kineko. I was a fellowship pastor. All those things don't mean anything to you. Dollars and cents and the ability to add value. When you get in the door, you can own the house. I hope you understand what I'm saying.
Wow,
Very
that
well.
was brilliant. That was brilliant from
Very
Steve
well.
Harris. So, in summary, I just wanted to round them off in 3 words. It's like resilience, determination, and demonstration. So you must demonstrate what exactly you believe, which is actually coming up from your inside. That was brilliant. Thank you very much. So we'll be going over to Amanda, and this question says regarding certification and competence. How would you suggest balance for someone whose certificate is nowhere near the labor market? Yeah. So how do you suggest balance for someone whose certificate is nowhere near the labor market?
Thank you for the question. I feel like I'm already gingered and excited to add on to what Steve was talking about. But I think it ties into the next question very well. Just to clarify, when you say certificate is nowhere near the labor market, so you mean they're based in a remote location, but would love to work in Lagos? Just to clarify.
I don't think possibly maybe it's location affected to an
I
extent.
think it's more about the fact that the person's qualifications don't pass muster.
Yeah.
So the person maybe the job requires a 2-1 and the person has a 3rd class. What does the person do?
Okay, got you. All right. So building on what Steve has said, and just talking through some of the things that we at Jobberman have come up with, just thinking through these things, right? And even speaking to this question. For me, I think there are 4 things that young people who are obviously watching on this platform can do, right, to be able to secure the job that they want to secure. And whether or not you have a certificate that is near the labor market or close to it, I think would be part of the 4 things I'm going to suggest. So the first thing, right, is in the current world that we're living in, there's obviously technical skills training, which is critical, and that you obviously get the first part of, right, from your university degree. But there's also soft skills training. And more, what we're realizing is that soft skills training is actually becoming more important to employers because these are the skills that enable young people to be able to navigate the world of work and life, and also guides their interpersonal relationships and teamwork within their work environment. Some examples of soft skills are business etiquette, communication, problem solving, critical thinking, things that we often take for granted, but that are critical to the workplace, personal effectiveness, time management, etc. And one of the first things that I would recommend to anyone in terms of this certificate issue is at least ensuring that you do have a soft skills training certificate from Jobberman. So we actually host soft skills training. It's over a 4-week period. However, it's on a self-paced platform called Thinkific. And if you're a dedicated individual who wants to get that certificate, if you sit down for 7 hours or 7 to 12 hours, you'd be able to complete all of our 8 courses online. So that would be the first thing I would say. We've actually been testing with various employers who say, we understand that young people coming in may not have the technical skills as yet. They have the theoretical knowledge, but if they can at least signal that they have soft skills training and are able to engage with their fellow colleagues, they're able to ask the right questions, that is a great signal for them. And even on our platform, some employers are saying, even having that qualification makes them want to look at someone before the other person. So that would be the first thing I recommend. Even if you're still completing your degree or have just completed it, having that trusted certificate from an organization like Jobberman or even would be able to help you get there or take the first step, right, into getting into the door. So that'd be the first thing. The second thing that I would recommend is, signing up on Jobberman. We have an array of jobs that are there. Speaking to the question right now, we have jobs for virtual assistants who can work with companies such as Cornerstone, verifying qualification, right? There's minimum qualification required, but in terms of experience, this is something that you can learn from as you go along. In addition, there are other jobs which have higher requirements. And I think for me, it's taking the time to sign up online, create your profile, and go through the different jobs that are there. Whether you think you have a certificate that is nowhere near the labor market or it's about finding the company, right, that matches with that. And the beauty of our Jobberman platform is that we can look at your qualifications, look at the requirements of the job that's been posted, and we are actually able to use our application tracking system to shortlist and share names with the individuals of people to consider. So that's what I would recommend in terms of that. Then the third thing I would mention is, being part of our employability events. A lot of the employability events that we host, we are often sharing job opportunities, whether entry level or more experienced. We're often sharing the soft skills training curriculum that we have. So already you have insight into that. And I think for me, that is one of the great places to engage in conversations like this, right? To open your mind, but also direct you to the right portals to get empowered openly. And I think for me, if one were to look at those three things, soft skills training being number one, two, looking on the Jobberman platform, creating your profile and looking for the jobs that you need or that are out there. And then three, attending our events, employability events. And then finally, virtual career fair. We're actually hosting a virtual career fair next week. And some of the things that we're doing is having master classes. We're going to be shortlisting and matching candidates even before the virtual career fair. So if you complete your soft skills training, create your profile and sign up, we will be having breakout rooms where you can come and talk like this and have the relevant conversations to open the door, or get into the window, as Steve was talking about. So for me, I think if one can look into, those 4 options, I think that will be the first step towards getting the job that you need, whether or not your certificate is near the labor market. Those would be my recommendations.
All right, thank you very much. Thank you very much for that. Yeah, so if you want to get more skill set and leveraging on soft skills and hard skills for employability, you need to visit Jobberman because the sessions are always every month. Yeah, the sessions are always every month.
They
So
are.
we have another question for Elisha. Mamman, and Femi Tiamuyi. We'll be kicking off with Elisha Mamman. Yeah. And it says, how can leaders become emotionally intelligent, especially in countries like Nigeria where everything hits you hard? Family, education, and everything. So, how do you think we could manage emotional intelligence, or how could we become more intelligent in the area of emotion?
Well, emotional intelligence is actually one of the fundamentals for leadership. You can't truly be an effective leader if you don't have the ability to engage your emotions intelligently. And you see, it's about how you respond. There's something I always say is that, you see, the same events happening in Nigeria is happening to us all. What is different is how we respond to these events.
Exactly.
The COVID didn't end in Lagos, it got to Kaduna.
Exactly.
The COVID didn't end in Nigeria, it affected London even more than Nigeria. But you see, we are responding differently. And our response is based on how we, number one, how we look at life. How do we see life? The second one is how have we prepared before now? For when you consider what is happening today, you talk about Nigeria. Steve Harris, my brother, was talking. You talk about Nigeria is this, Nigeria is that, Nigeria is. You see, Nigeria truly has always been like this for a while. Nigeria didn't start being like this. It was like this even before most of the younger people were born. At least we saw a little better Nigeria, some of us. But the fact that you know that you are responsible for your life, the outcomes of your life, you are responsible for it. And when we say you are responsible for your life, we're talking about the word responsibility, because emotional intelligence is about responsibility. And what is responsibility? The ability to take an action with the future, or with the future in your mind. It is the ability to take an action considering its effect to both your life and to the life of everyone around you. That's what it means to take it more. Now, if as a husband, take into consideration my wife, I am not being emotionally intelligent. Number two, if, for example, during PDP, forgive me for this example, during PDP, we all assumed there was a boom. But the truth of the matter is that some people complaining about this period, they were still broke during PDP.
Yeah.
Now, can you hear me? My internet, I think my...
Yeah, we can. Just the video is just having issues, but you can proceed, sir.
Sorry, I can't even hear.
We said we can hear you. Oh, we will definitely come back to give his final points on the question. Please, can we take it to the previous question? So Femi Tiamuyi, you can kind of help us round up on as to what Elisha Mamman was trying to say. Yeah.
Oh, all right. Okay, so I'm up now. All right, so I like to define leadership as understanding human dynamics. It starts there. Leadership is more of understanding human dynamics, their thoughts and behavioral pattern. The need and knowing how to motivate or inspire people towards a particular goal. Sure, you get that. So the first thing is a leader is someone you're not just managing your own emotions, you're also managing other people's emotion, because emotional intelligence is not complete without you also managing other people's emotion. So a leader is someone who doesn't you Mamman was saying, you consider the effect of some things you're even saying to your followers or your employees and all that before you even say it to them. understanding, you prepare for their emotions. Emotions, the reactions or the response. Some persons react, some persons respond. So a leader is someone who have a thought. He has a forethought of what will be in their mind. Then okay, if I take this certain course of action, okay, how will they respond to it? So you see that how can leaders become emotionally intelligent? Number one, understand people. A leader is some persons emphasize the importance of temperament. I mean, you have to understand temperament, how to manage people, people's emotion, even social awareness, social skill. A leader is someone that understands social awareness, social skill, also self-awareness and self-management. Because first is you managing your own emotions, your own feelings, then knowing how that the things that you put out there, either through words, your expressions, verbally or written, how they affect or impact the other person and even the workload. So knowing all of the scope surrounding what triggers emotion, then if a leader can prepare beforehand to manage all of those things, then you are good to go. So understanding awareness, understanding how people react to certain things, how people, for example, a leader during the let's assume the pandemic hits you so hard and you need to really fire certain persons, but in your own mind, you don't want to just discard them like that or discard them like that and say go. You want to give your last word, passing words. There's a way a leader would communicate that. A leader will communicate that. I remember on campus there, you have F, and they are calling you to come and encourage people that have F. You know what that means? I mean, you failed the course and you're being called to encourage, to motivate, to inspire people that that also had F. Both of you had Fs. You understand? But a leader is someone who won't learn to manage that atmosphere. So it's first understanding people's behavioral patterns, their dynamics, then knowing how that the course of actions, the things that you do affect or impact them. Thank you. Is our moderator.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I think Scott is out now. Thank you so much for that enlightenment. As a leader, it is not just about your own emotion. You need to also understand other people's emotion. Okay, the next question is for Steve Harris. In mastering the business of your talent, how can young individuals make transition from passion to profit? Because we hear a lot of motivational speakers saying you need to do a lot of things free, you need to do some things free. So after we have been doing all these things for free now, how can we transit or transcend from doing this passion for free to meeting ends meet from our passion?
Well, I mean, let's just say I believe I speak for all of us who are on this panel. We are doing this thing for free. You know what I'm saying? So sometimes the free never stops. So it's about value. Because if we charged you, this event will not hold. All right. But having said that, people pay for value, nothing more, nothing less. People pay for the quality of the problems you solve. You solve small problems, you make small money. You solve big problems, you make big money. You know what I mean? Allow me to use a spiritual reference. So when David saw Goliath, he asked the question, what will be done for the man who takes this reproach from Israel? And the reason they said, oh, he'll be the king's, he'll marry the king's daughter, he'll be, the king's son-in-law, his family will never pay taxes, no more FIRS, no more legal state tax, nothing, no land use charge, nothing, right? When David saw all those things, he decided to go. But now, why was that important? Because the quality of the problem determined the quality of the value placed on the problem, right? So I like to say it this way: the bigger the problem, the bigger the solution. The bigger the solution, the greater the money attached to the solution. The bigger, let me say that again. The bigger the problem, the bigger the solution. The bigger the solution, the greater the value placed on the solution. The greater the value, the bigger the money, right? And then the bigger the money, the bigger the boy or girl, right? So first off, in being able to turn your passion into profit, you've got to ask the question, is this a problem that I'm solving? Number two, is it urgent and important to the customer, right? If it's not urgent and important to the customer, they ain't gonna buy anything. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, I use for example, let's say I used to use a postpaid line, right? So if anyone was selling recharge cards to me, they'd be wasting their time because I don't need it. It's a solution that is not urgent, nor is it important to me. It's not solving a problem for me, right? And don't be entitled. You know, all of us are still doing things for free. I think a lot of young people perhaps have an entitlement mentality. We think that someone owes us something and we're going to demand our rights. Nobody owes you anything. Everybody who is on this panel has bootstrapped, has worked, is paying the price, is still paying the price for where we are. No one handed us favors. We took an opportunity, we added value, we served, and then eventually, we got an opportunity. And in getting that opportunity, we constantly show that we deserve to be here. Right? So think about it and say, what's the quality of the problem I'm solving? Is it urgent and important? And then that's the way to go. And then when you do have the opportunity, outcare your competitors, show your customers that you truly, truly care about them, and then they will reward you with their money. So where your treasure is, where your heart is, that's where your treasure will be. And where your treasure is, that's where your heart will be. So that's what I think.
That's right. That word is coming again. Outcare your competitors. Outcare your competitors. Care for your customers. Don't just focus on your competitors. What value are you bringing to the table? Because it is your value and how relevant that value is that determines how profitable the solution you're preferring to that problem is. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I hope I've been able to summarize that word. Please, I would like the next question to pop up. This question is for Elisha Mamman and Femi Tiamuyi. I would like Elisha Mamman to go first. How can leaders develop their team and effectiveness, but avoid doing everything themselves? How can leaders develop their team for effectiveness, but avoid doing everything themselves? Did you get the question?
Yes, I do. Now, if you do everything yourself, you don't actually have a team. First things, if you have to do everything yourself, it simply means you do not have a team, or you don't recognize your team. You see, leadership is about getting people to do things towards a particular goal or objective. Leadership is an effect you have that moves people in a particular direction in pursuing an actual goal. And so it has to do with you influencing somebody else to do something so both of you can achieve a goal. And so if you are doing everything, you actually either don't have a team, or you don't trust in your team, or you are just stubborn enough to ignore your team. And it won't be long, you will not be achieving anything significant. I always tell people that whatever you see happening with the winning mindset today is because of the people that are behind me. It's because of the team that I have. And so how do you develop these people? Look, number one, I believe that development comes from the word investment. And so the first thing I think you should do when you have a team is to invest in your team. Invest in your team in terms of training, in terms of sharing wisdom, in terms of the quality of information you give to them. Very important. That's the first thing, because develop means to build. If you want a team that is effective, you must build them up. And you won't be able to build people up until you first believe in them. This is powerful. You have to believe in them to develop them. You have to believe in them to build them. What I see today is that people use people. Because if you are only using them to achieve your own goal and there's no provision for them to achieve their own goal, they are only tools in your hand. And human beings are not tools. They are people. Though a resource, but they are not tools that you can use and dump. So, and so the first thing is you have to invest in them. You have to build capacity in them. What I do is this: when I bring somebody to my team, I look at your skill and I invest in your skill. I pay for you to get better in what you are doing. Whether for my private company or whether for my winning mindset, which is an organization that is we do for free, like Steve says, that one we do it for free. So you develop them by investing in them, and for you to invest in them, like I said, you have to believe in them. You have to believe in what they can do. And because you believe in what they can do, you will improve their capacity to do it. Effectiveness is about doing things with results. It's about doing things so you can have results. And so, for me, believe in them, train them, inspire them. Number two, you see, for leaders, you have to an extent, you have to live the life you are demanding from others. You have to live the life you are demanding from others. It is said that you can't take people where you have not been to. You can't be very, very ineffective and expect your team to be very effective. Because it is, in the first place, it is you. It is the vision you are running with that they are serving. And so, 2 points for me, I'll allow Femi continue, is you have to believe in them to develop them. It simply means effectiveness will improve or will increase if you improve the capacity of the people. And secondly, you as a leader, you have to actually lead by example. You have to become effective in yourself in the things that you are doing. So Femi, just continue from here.
All right, thank you, Elisha. Well, I like to remind the moderator. Don't forget, Steve said he needs to to leave, so I hope you're watching the time so that we properly we don't abuse this privilege. So not that. All right, so the continuing from where Elisha stopped, there is two aspects of delegation I want to talk about. One is dumping, and the other is developing. So in other words, you can actually give people tasks. In other words, you're calling the task delegation, but you are dumping it. When you dump it to them, you are not helping them grow. So there is a part where you develop, you inspect the project. One thought says people do what you inspect, not what you expect. So even when you give people tasks, don't just dump it and like just for yourself, follow it up. Get feedback, give them resources to get better at the work. So that's one of the ways to develop them, and deliberately charge your responsibility to them. Sometimes give them your responsibility to do, and give feedback for it. Then take their personal. The next step is take their personal discipline so serious. You would sometimes wonder why a particular leader is punishing you or taking your discipline more serious than every other person's. Now, leadership is deliberate; it's not assumed. So let them understand that it is deliberate. You are being looked upon. You are being worked on. You are being prepared for the next phase of leadership, for the next height of impact of this organization. So to whom much is given, much is expected. So give to them more tasks and let them know, their own tasks or their own falling off the radar means they have much more discipline or consequence to bear than every other person would actually bear. Give them all tasks to do. One of the ways to also develop leaders is giving them all tasks to do. Sometimes the task might not even be all tasks that you now begin to ask about the leadership principle in that task. tax that doesn't look like what does it what sense is in this, and you now begin to ask them, okay, what leadership lessons can you find there? I remember in some of our leadership trainings or our programs, we have this the blind. We have a lot of games like that that we do, and we begin to bring out leadership principles from there, and like that. So you can also engage their intelligence, by giving them some spawn of the moment tasks, spawn the moment tasks, some things they weren't prepared for at all. Just engage their intelligence like that. Then the last one, which I think is very, very key and very important, access. That association, that conduit is very key. Is very key. Is very key. That being in the presence of some leaders, even when they're not saying a word, a lot of thousand things are being learned through their coordination, their heart, their manner. For me, is the
Yes,
most
sir.
for me. So that access association, if you really genuinely
Mm.
and deliberately want to, and right now you can't, right now the age we have, so you have the virtual space to also get into the access, get allow them in your own access. You have them, people manage persons remotely, manage persons remotely, manage tasks remotely. You could get them into that access. There is a way, I tell young people, there's a way you are typing. I can tell you that I mean, you don't have honor in your heart. Like Steve was saying, you do all the abbreviation, you do. I mean, you type to your mentor and you are abbreviating, doing all those rubbish and all that. It's one of the things we do in our virtual training. There's no abbreviation here. You is not YOU is not you. So once you begin to give us those, and we kick you out. We kick you out because we know that you have to be serious minded there. And that's one of the ways we show you being serious minded, and there's a way you communicate. There's a way you enter into someone's space, you just say, hey, hi. I mean, hey, what's hey? Where did you get my contact? Where are you coming from? I don't even know you from anywhere. Hey, Femi, hey. At least communicate respect and honor. And you know what? Your mentor can discern this even in your SMS, in your text. In your test, you don't use you are talking to your mentor, you use you. When even the why, you capitalize the why. I'm not saying you should go all those miles because it's not ego worship, but make sure that your what you communicate on the outside is also showcasing the posture of your heart. Let me just stop there. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Elisha, Mamman, and Femi Tiamuyi. And Femi Tiamuyi just rounded up with taking the posture. So we need to take on the posture of honor, in engaging leaders, and for us to reap proper benefits from associating with people. Yeah, very good, very good. So Steve Harris will be leaving now. Yeah, because I can sense it. Yeah, that you actually need to leave right now. You're feeling uneasy and all that. So we need to let Steve go. Yeah.
No, I'm not. I'm not uneasy at all. I've been listening to my brothers and my sisters, so it makes for great conversation.
Yeah. So we'll be rounding up very soon, but we just want to get final notes from Steve before he goes. Then we can get final notes from the rest of us here. Then we'll call this session to a close because it has really been educative and interesting so far. So over to you. What would you like? The person's viewing, and what we just want to leave also with. Yeah. Final notes.
First off, I hate to break it to you, but there's a typo in the post you just put out there. So it's not white collar jobs, it's white collar jobs, right? Don't let Amanda see. Just quickly take it away. Sharp, edit it now. All right. There's a typo there. Things like that can actually cause you some missed opportunities. All right. So it's white collar jobs. Please take it off. Okay. Yeah. But I do think that, final words simply is, guys, it's all about responsibility. You've got to be able to take responsibility for the future you want. No one is going to hand anything to you. You've got to learn how to serve. Volunteering is a shortcut to employment, because if you get an opportunity to volunteer at seemingly no cost, even though it's costing you everything, but seemingly no cost to the organization, you recognize that your ability to volunteer is actually an audition. And even if the organization doesn't hire you, the best they can give you is a referral to your quality and this, that, and the other. So don't be afraid to serve. Don't think, like Femi said, that people are trying to use you. No one is trying to use you. they're doing you a favor. So when you come and meet someone like, my brother Elisha Mamman, and you say, "Oh, so I want you to, I want to just learn from you," and he says, I don't." He said, "No, sir, just give me transfer fare." No, why is he going to spend his money giving you transfer fare? You're now putting your burden upon him. You need to show that it's valuable. You know, I remember that when I got the opportunity to volunteer with Fela, and I had that 5 month period, he offered to pay me. And every month I turned him down because I said to him, "Sir, I should be paying you for the opportunity that I have to understudy, right? I should, if I could equate the cost, I can imagine what it would cost me. So I'm not going to take money from you." It was hard. It was incredibly difficult. My parents were not giving me money because I had left a job that at least I was an office assistant, I was a janitor. My salary was 10,000 naira a month, even though my transportation fare was 12,000 naira a month. And I left that job, even though the job was close to my house, as the case may be. I left that job to go and work for Fela in his consulting firm at the time in VGC every month for 5 months, right? But I recognize that success comes at a cost, and the cost is something called sacrifice, which is why I'm pleased. I'm not trying to knock anyone's hustle, right? But this is my personal opinion that the culture that we have, that we're celebrating. Please forgive me, and this is my personal opinion, that we're living in the culture that we are creating celebrities out of non-entities, right? And the reason I say that is no disrespect to the business model. Shows like Big Brother, right, where you would spend 85 million bucks to reward someone who sat in a house doing nothing for 90 days or 70 days, who is sitting in an air conditioned house, has 3 square meals a day, is fed, has a bed. So you're unconsciously, we're showing the young people that you can actually do nothing and get paid and get rewarded, and you'll become a celebrity. Everybody in Big Brother house is verified. Now, I'm not knocking the business model. I think the sharpest person in Big Brother is Big Brother, because the money Big Brother generates in terms of SMS alone last year was about 5 billion naira in terms of SMSs alone. So Big Brother understands it. Gather 120 million Nigerians to talk about 20 people and use the money of 120 million Nigerians to vote for 20 people in a fake show so that you will generate real money. There's something they're doing well. However, you've got to recognize that your life is not Big Brother. Nobody's going to reward you for sitting your ass in a house, doing nothing, showing up to do nothing. It doesn't work like that. You've got to hustle. You've got to grind. For every 20 people that made it into Big Brother, there were 200,000 that didn't make the cuts, right? And those 200,000, everybody shouts, "I'm team this and I'm team that." Me, I'm team Big Brother, because Big Brother understands the business of making money. So my point to you guys is hustle, take responsibility, and then you'll be all right.
All right, thank you very much. Thank you very much. Also take responsibility and all we. All right, thank you very much, Steve Harris, for that closing remark. We really appreciate, and I believe the comment section are actually teaming. We have like 20 comment right now. So yeah, that was powerful. Yeah, that was powerful. I really appreciate your time and effort to come out here to add value to each and every one of us on another beautiful Saturday. Thank you so much. I stand you. Exactly, stand. Yeah. Thank you so much, sir. All right, we are about rounding
So
up.
can I go?
Yeah, you can. Thank you so much. You
All right,
can.
thank you for having me. Thank you, Femi. Thank you, Elisha. Thank you,
Thank
Amanda.
you, Steve.
But we
I'll
actually have
send you
a certificate for you. We do
is
have
it,
some.
is it like a Uniben degree? Because I don't have one.
No, it's not.
I think they should give you an honorary doctorate, Finn.
Yeah, that's what I want.
Steve.
That's just what I want. Give me an honorary doctorate and I'm good.
I'm telling you.
I believe the control room should be should be getting ready to project that. We really want you to. I really want you to see that before you go. So, control room, can we please project the certificate, the JCI Unibank degree, to
I'll take it
to
until I get the honorary one.
you can do that right now. Can we please do that, please? After our question, he wants to go now. He wants to go now. So you have to please project him. Yeah. So can we please drop the question, please? Can we please drop the question so we can see?
I hope you spelled my name right.
Yeah, please let's relax the question, please. Thank you. Let's take it up. Let's take it up. So this is certificate of appreciation. This is to specially express our profound gratitude to Steve Harris for being a facilitator and resource person at our Employability, Business and Leadership Masterclass 3.0 and Virtual Masterclass, which are today, from Thursday 24 to 26 September 2020. And that was signed by Sheyi Odebode, Director of EBL 3.0, and Alabi Shegun Samson, President, JCI Nigeria University of Benin. So thank you so much, Steve Harris, for your quality time that you put to use to educate and add value to us once again. We at JCI Nigeria University of Benin love you and appreciate you immensely. So I saw Sawar is saying this session has been amazing. I'm grateful to be privileged, learning from here. Thank you so much at every of the panelists. So we can relax the certificate. Steve Harris is going to get it via mail. So we just need to go on through Amanda, then Femi, Tiamuyi, then Elisha, Mamman, then we're done. So we can put up the questions now. Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys. Thank you for having me. I'll keep in touch. Amanda, I'll send you a message. Looking forward to connecting with you.
Yes,
Femi,
please.
I'm already following you on Instagram, so that's cool.
Awesome.
All right.
Looking forward to it.
Namaste. Namaste. Namaste.
All right, we can have the question, please. We can have the question, please. This 402. We can have the question, please. Okay, Amanda, given given the high unemployment rates and economic situation in the country, can we say that white collar jobs are at the decline? Can we say that white collar jobs are at the decline?
Okay, so thank you so much for the question. I think from government's perspective, and I think I mentioned this when we started, despite this lockdown, right? We actually saw our job listings or job advertisements on our platform more than double during this lockdown period. And I think for us, what that shows us is I don't think white collar jobs are on the decline. If anything, I think the issue is more between the requirements of employers, the skill requirements that employers have, and the skills that job seekers possess, and the skills gap there is between those two. It goes without saying, right, that our current unemployment situation is a cause for concern. If you look at the youth unemployment rate, combined youth unemployment rate, so that is underemployed and employed based on NBS statistics, you're at about 63% unemployment rate for youth, right? These individuals who are between 15 and 35, meaning 1 in 3 Nigerian youth are unemployed. And what we're seeing on the JobMan platform is there are still jobs that are being listed by various companies. Yes, there are certain hiring restrictions that they have or cost considerations given the current pandemic, but we are still seeing that our listings actually more than doubled, and there are jobs that are out there, but that matching between job seekers and employers is a huge gap that we're seeing. More than that, I think there are obviously other additional sectors, right, for types of jobs like blue collar work or blue collar jobs that are out there and are available. And I think maybe there is going to be a shift in mindset where it comes to the kind of jobs that graduates are applying to, which may be slightly different, right, from what they already envisioned doing. So I think for me, it's one, the skills gap, two, finding that connection between the employer and the job seeker, and then going even beyond the white collar jobs, also exploring what the blue collar jobs have available in terms of opportunities for young people. I think for me, there also needs to be a look into the types of jobs, right, under white collar. I think earlier I mentioned virtual assistant jobs that have become more prevalent, right, because of the pandemic. And those may not require as much qualification as more senior roles in organizations. You might see a world where people are doing those virtual assistant jobs while still trying to find the, I guess, other jobs that they may be looking for. So I think it's also just having that flexibility and adaptability, um, and looking into the opportunities that are out there in addition to the dream jobs, right? That people already had. So that's what I would say on that.
All right, thank you very much for that beautiful answer. We'll be going over to Femi Tiamiyu on his final notes, then we'll come back to Amanda. So Olusegun Olubenga Adeleke is saying amazing. So it's very obvious everyone on the panel are amazing people. And Nelly about Woko is saying, whoa, God bless you, sir. I guess that for all the male panelists. Yeah, Odigwe Mercy is saying, thank you very much. All right, let's get the final note from Femi Tiamiyu from Leadership Quarters. That's Accelerate LDH. Yeah, I just love that
Leaders
so much.
quarters. Leaders quarters.
Yeah,
Thank you.
yeah.
Yes, thank you. In this aspect of leadership, I want to say that, in fact, for any area of your life, any things you want to endeavor into, anything you want to endeavor into, one is that willingness. You need that willingness. You need to be willing, to do the things you want to do. Be willing to go for your goal. Be willing to stir up that desire inside. It starts from the heart. The posture of the heart must be right. The texture of the heart must also be right. Go for it. Have that desire and willingness within you. The second thing I want to say is availability. Show up. Show up. You have to show up. They call for an interview. You have to show up. Be there. Just keep showing up. Just keep showing up. One day is going to turn up to your favor. You can't just relax and relapse at home and feel like nothing's happening. Like Steve said, nothing's going to drop on your on your lap. No one is going to come into your bedroom and that. In fact, another way to look at it is that these guys even compete before they came into the house. Like BB Niger and all that. And they are somewhere. They showed up somewhere. So where are you showing up? Show up. Then responsibility. Take up. You have to take up responsibility. We can't overemphasize this. Is an entitled generation. Like you see, you go on people's page, sir, bless us today, bless us. When do we stop all this rubbish and nonsense? Bless us. The pandemic, is it not over now? Bless us. Who are you blessing? Who are you impacting? So you have to take up responsibility for your life. No man owe you anything except to love you. And that love is optional. They can choose to love you or not to love you. So take up. Then development, grow up. You have to grow up. Leave the stage you are. Keep ascending or aspiring for something more. Just keep pushing. Keep going. Develop your Moses, your discipline Moses. A lot of young persons need to be more disciplined, and it starts right from campus. You need to be a early riser. Don't be on the bed 7 a.m., 8 a.m. You are still holding. Semester break is time for seasonal movies. No, look for a place to intern. Look for a place to serve. Look for organizations to go work. Even if they won't pay you, go serve. In fact, that's not the time for you to be looking for where you'll be paid up and down. Just the privilege of having a workplace structure to serve, to intern is golden. Don't miss that. Then deployment, use up. Use as you are learning. Use as you are taking. Give. And the time will come, you find yourself in that larger platform where you keep aspiring for more. So this is my take home last word for young persons. Keep showing up, keep using up, keep doing those things that you believe that you have been called to do, going up, and you see that the fortune will smile at you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. You just said we need to show up, take responsibility, and then grow up. They were, just so wonderful. Just so wonderful. So thank you very much, Femi
Thank
Tiamiyu.
you
I
so
really
much.
appreciate, and all of us do appreciate you for the comments that the live view. Emmanuel Sako is saying very true, sir. We'll be rounding up in the next 1 minute. And before we get Amanda's final notes, I want every one of us to understand that we will be launching our EBL ebook by 4:30 p.m. So do well to stay with us. I think after 15, 20 minutes break. So please do well to stay with us. We're having our EBL ebook. EBL 3.0 is actually power pack from speakers to the ebook and the like. So these things have never been done since EBL 1.0. So and we are indeed committed to making people better. So Nelly Abawoko is corroborating what yes, and Osato Awe Igbinoba, she said, grow up. That's taking responsibility. So thank you so much Femi Tiamuyi. We'll be going back to Amanda. Amanda, can I get your surname pronunciation properly? I love that name.
It's Portelo.
Is what?
So my maiden surname is Portelo, but my marriage surname
Portela.
is actually Akon. Yes, but I'm married. So my marriage surname is actually Akoni.
Akoni, are you serious?
Yes,
All right, so we
yes.
Awesome.
get your last words, your last final notes on
Awesome.
employability.
Definitely. So thank you so much, first of all, for having me here. I think it's been an absolute pleasure. I've even been learning from everything that Femi has said, Steve has said. It's been an absolute pleasure. So I think for me in parting, one, I think one of the questions you had asked was around, white collar jobs being on the decline. And I think there are certain industries that have been key players during this pandemic, right? So IT and telecoms, and this is for people who are concerned or thinking, what is going on? Where would I be able to find an opportunity? Some of our leading or top industries demanding talent on the Jobberman platform are IT and telecoms, advertising and marketing, finance, even recruitment, healthcare, etc. And for me, it's to say, I think there are definitely opportunities out there for all of you. And I think it's a matter of you taking the initiative to find them, whether it's getting to them through the window that Steve spoke about, right? Where he was like, stand by DT Bank, greet everyone, show them your discipline and you arrive on time, to using online platforms, right, which have become the way of life, such as Jobberman. There are a plethora of job opportunities on Jobberman waiting right for you. Some are even in your state, you know, and I think this is the opportune time for you to go create your profile, to go and start going through them and see what works for you and what doesn't. And we are even happy to share, right, with the JCI Uniben chapter, some of the job opportunities that have come through partners for you guys to consider and then create your profiles and apply. I would also say
Wow,
put
thank
yourself out
you.
there, right? You need to make sure, are you attending masterclasses? Are you attending career fairs? Are you trying to upskill yourself? The Jobberman Virtual Career Fair, Nigeria's largest virtual career fair, is happening on the 30th of September. You need to sign up for that. Are you upskilling yourself? Have you signed up for soft skills training with Jobberman? Have you looked on Coursera or Udemy, for whatever course you're trying to upskill yourself with? These things actually do play a role and can be put into your CV to show employers that you take initiative and you do want to develop yourself and be the best version of yourself when you enter the workplace so you can add value, as Steve mentioned. So for me, it would be saying upskill yourself, put yourself out there, attend events that will connect you to jobs, that'll put you in the right circles, as Femi spoke about, right? And make sure you honor the individuals in those circles, right? With the way that you approach them, and then use the platforms available to you. We're all at home. Go onto the Jobman platform, create the profile, do the Jobman virtual soft skills training, and more than anything, I think learn from the people around you. Don't be afraid to ask questions. Don't be afraid to ask people who've done or who've walked this path, to say, what are the things I need to be thinking about? How can I be the best version of myself? How can I think we often make a lot of assumptions as young people. We often assume certain things. I think we've spoken about entitlement, etc. But I think we need to humble ourselves, ask those questions, and not take for granted, right? Your parents around you, your aunts and uncles, your older brothers and sisters, and also leverage online platforms that have so much information to share on how to, be the best version of yourself and get your dream job and create the future that you envision. So that's what I would
Thank
say.
All right, thank you very much, Amanda Tolewa. That was and Amanda Akoni. Yeah, thank you so much for that.
Yeah.
So what you just said was, we should upscale and use join platforms and join fairs and the likes and honor the persons in that space. Honor, people are ladders, and that's what I actually believe. And we need to honor people to climb higher. Yeah. So thank you so much, all of you, from let me tell me you to Amanda Akoni, down to Elisha Mamman, Steve Harris. Thank you so much for making EBL a big day
You're welcome.
today, and we're really and indeed delighted. So without taking much ado, we'll be presenting a small gift for you too. So control room, can we have the certificate one by one? Yeah, thank you. So while we are waiting for control room to do that, we're having our EBL book launch by 4:30, and we having distinguished guests from JCI in Nigeria. The president for 2020, Onyechukwu Umbeledogu, will be with us, and Adetola Adjuito will be with us launching our EBL ebook. So this is Gate of Appreciation, and this is especially to express our profound gratitude to Amanda Tewa for being a facilitator, resource person at our employability business and leadership masterclass 3.0. That's virtual, which held
Thank you
today,
so much.
yeah, from Thursday to Saturday, 24th September 2020. And all of us from JCI Nigeria University of Benin acknowledge your time and sacrifices. Can we have that for Femi Tiamuyi, please? Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Osato Anwe Gunova is saying thank you so much. Amanda, brilliant.
You're welcome. You're more than welcome.
All right, can we have the last certificate before we go? Okay, while we wait for that, please, if you got so much value in today's session, can I get your fire emojis down on the comment section? Please drop your fire emojis in your comment section. Yeah, or how was the panel section? In one word, just drop it. Yeah, so certificate of appreciation from JCI Nigeria University of Benin. This is to specially express our profound gratitude to Femi Tiamuyi for being a facilitator and resource person at our employability business and leadership masterclass 3.0, which held from Thursday to Saturday, September the 26th, 24th, 26th, 2020. Director of EBL, Sheyi Odebo, and Shegun Alabi Samson, President, JCI Nigeria University of Benin, and the board of directors, the EBL team, all appreciate you. Thank you so
much.
much.
Thank you
And the panel
so
session is
much.
actually a wrap. Yeah, you're welcome, sir. The panel session is actually a wrap, and I've actually been looking forward to this and successful, enlightening, fired up, direct, and specific. Thank you so much for your time. So we'll be having our EBL. Yeah, thank you. So Amanda talked about job opportunities, in partnerships with JCI Nigeria University of Benin. Please note that that's a very vital part of our organization. As at now, we need. Please note that, please. Thank you very much. All right. So Ugo Chukwu
No problem.
Enyanya is saying fantabulous. Yes, you are doing well. Okay. So yeah, the fire emojis are coming up. We'll be rounding up
Mr.
now.
Samana, thank you.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you, Amanda. Thank you so much. So I think they are trying to project something, but I can kindly bring the panel session to a close. We spent 2 hours. Yeah, we spent 2 hours. So once again, kudos to everyone behind the administrations and that making this work. Yeah, so we'll be going off now.
Thank you for having us. Thank you, Amanda.
Thank you for having us. And thank you, Femi. Thank you, Scott. Cheers, everyone. All the best. Bye.
Thank you. Thank you. So yeah, I think and all right, please. So do well to join us by 4:30. It has really been a sizzling hot session. Join us by 4:30 once again. It's a reminder for you to get your copy of the ebook. Please do well to come and mention present in the comment section so we could send you a copy of the ebook if you are interested. If you are interested in it. So we are going off now. Can we end the live session? now. Thank you so much for your time. All of us from JCI Nigerian University of Benin appreciate you. So do well to make it 4:30 with our executive from the national level. Thank you for your time. Bye.